All right. Well, let me hit tweet over here. So, all right. Now they know. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Cognitive Rampage. My name is Chris Fisher, along with Adam Lowry and his beautiful girlfriend, Patricia. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing wonderful. That was a wonderful intro.
You guys are drinking wine. I am not drinking. All I have is water, and I feel left out.
No, well, you're always in our hearts, Chris. At least mine for sure.
Man, you got a nice and dark in there, nice and mysterious and sexy studio, and I'm sitting here in the corner of my apartment with my drawers hanging from the ceiling rafters, drying right now.
That's how I felt when I walked in, when you had the F&K studio set up, man. When I was on that little book tour and I came in, when you're in your studio, I was like, what? This is what one day I'll be like Chris, one day.
Well, I started a new studio tomorrow. Can I show you a picture of it?
Please, sir.
All right, let's see here.
Whoa, look, green screen and all.
Look at that. That is Bake More Pies production in Tampa. And it's time to take whatever the heck I'm trying to do to the next level.
Anything you do is always on the next level, brother. And I'm just glad to see you breaking out on your own, like your own thing. Like I know you've been talking about it for like, I don't know, 3 years, almost 4 years, about having your own, where you just unleash the beast that is Chris when he's talking.
All right. I don't need to unleash no beasts. All right. That's your deal, man. You're the Cognitive Rampage. And I mean, every now and again I can get a little riled, get a little worked up, but usually, there's liquor involved. And as I get older, I calm down a little bit. I get a little wiser. And because I realize a lot of that rampaging, for me anyway, I'm not, for me anyway, is, it stems from, not having control in situations when you think you should normally have control. And at least that's the way I look at it. And now that I'm a little bit older, I got a couple more years under my belt. I realize the trick is to quit trying to control so much and take things as they come. Be thankful for the good and the bad that comes along with it. And we'll figure it out.
No, I think that the new lady on your side, there's that a lot to do also with maybe pulling life back in perspective a little.
Oh, definitely. The reason I married her, we got married this past February, and I would say the turning point in our relationship was a concert in downtown St. Pete with a band called the Paper Tongues, and it was what they call a halfway to St. Patrick's Day celebration. And the band, which is a national act, was coming through the radio station I was working with, 97X in Tampa. And the lead singer, Aswan North, up on stage in front of, a packed street block, said, "This next song is a new song we've been working on, da-da-da-da-da," and this goes out to my boy Fisher. And and so I'm sitting there with my girlfriend at the time. And I heard it, but I didn't hear it. Right. It's kind of whatever. And my brain's in another place. And
well, you're also always on like man watch too. In your concerts like that, right? You're having a good time, but you're always on kind of man watch, right?
What's man watch?
Just being safe. Make sure everybody's okay. Maybe that's just me. I overthink it.
I think that might be more of you. Sometimes when we go places, I really feel like I'm with security.
Yeah. I was with a buddy of mine yesterday who's retired cop. And he's always packing heat, and he's always knows where the entrance is and the exits are and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And no, I'm the exact opposite. I'm naive. I'm not looking.
Hence not hearing the song play.
Yeah. So anyway,
or your shout out come out.
Yeah, what'd you call it? So I was man scoping, or what'd you call it?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I'm hoping it wasn't manscaping.
Yeah. I was sitting there in the middle of the street, man.
Either way, it's good.
Yeah.
And anyway, she kind of tugs on me because she realizes I didn't even really hear it, and she goes, not everybody gets something like that. To the effect of that's special, and I feel like you don't realize that that's cool. And it just stopped me in my tracks. And like in 1 second, all of a sudden, that my entire career, the previous 15, 20 years, went flashing by, and all those moments like that I had missed every single time. And so yeah, that was I think, looking back, is one of the pivotal moments for me, when you're finding the one. And it was, so that person that can show you that kind of perspective and change your world, change your worldview in a moment, have you appreciate things you've never been able to appreciate before, was, well,
Yeah, well, I relate, man, because Patricia actually did that with me, but it turned it good one. But it turned more on the appreciation for myself, things that I had come to look down upon over time somehow. Kind of when people tell you to tone you down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That don't be all of you, right? Yeah, I know you relate there. But Patricia was different. It was more like, would you please stop not being you? Would you emphasize that more be yourself more, right? Don't try to hide that. And
what's wrong with you, Patricia?
What's funny is I actually told him, I said, if anybody looks at you and says, oh, that's Adam, run from them as quickly as you can. Instead, be around the people that say, oh, that's Adam. Like they are proud of who he is, and give me more of that. Because if he's not, then it's just like anybody else, right?
Well, I can hear him now, right? Feed your ego and insecurities at him on the outside. But I really meant it, man, because our environment's influential, right? The people we put in our lives, right? The young woman there that's now your wife that stands next to you and says one word, that's influential.
Well, she's not standing next to me. She's lying on the couch watching the Bucks game. But
wait, that's how it turns, right? But I mean, that one influential moment when somebody kind of allows you to say, hey, I like that part of the self or this part, right? That's what does changes.
So if you don't mind me asking this, in your story that you just got done telling about how you met her, was she telling you, whoa, this is kind of a big deal for me to give you this acknowledgement, I need some more of your appreciation?
No, I think she just realized, she was probably sitting there going, man, that's really cool. And then looked over at
cool
me
as shit.
And he doesn't even see it. And she just realized I'd never even heard it.
Okay,
and
cool.
So
that's
she wanted to stop and go, did you realize just what happened? And that's, something that's unique in life. Not everybody gets something like that.
Yeah.
And I just, like I said, it really was one of those, epiphanies where I just looked at her, and then my entire career kind of flashed before my eyes, and how there was just moment after moment after moment that I never saw.
Make you grateful though, right? It makes you grateful, right? You can look back and say you had those moments.
Yeah, and that's it took some time then to reflect back on all of that, but in a weird way, you are kind of able to relive it if you can get in that moment, and then be thankful for something that you weren't thankful originally for.
Did you feel at all like you had like a sixth sense that you weren't aware of before?
Well, more just like you just went back and re-experienced it in a different way, through your memory and your imagination. So
that's the cool part.
It tricks the brain, it tricks the amygdala, and you just all of a sudden you have a different experience.
And then those quick moments, that's where we change, right? That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's almost like reprogramming yourself. You can go back and look at a moment in a way that it was negative first, and the first time around, and they can get to understand it and get to a point where it doesn't have that effect. It doesn't have that impact on you anymore. And I think even through that process, they call it in imagination, cognitive exercises or something like that. And
I'll let you float out there on that one.
Or it starts to grow neuro pathways into different directions, so that so your past experiences then affect your now experiences differently.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I've always thought the second round usually when the woman gets the husband that's already been divorced once, you go, yes, I get the improved one. Learn from all their mistakes.
I'll take the improvement, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to circle all the way back, this was all coming back from not having control of the own creative development, of which the microphone that you talk to the world with. and now having your own space. That's where we started. We started with breaking out on your own.
Yeah, so I'm going to move into this facility tomorrow. But as far as exactly what the show is going to be, I know where I'm going to start with the show. And it'll be a stuff you should know kind of a format in the beginning of it, which is basically here's kind of the headlines, the news of the day that everybody is, will be talking about. And of course, my little take or joke or whatever. Then go into some other features from there, and then just try figure it out from there.
That's my favorite blueprint. I mean, that was TCR's blueprint. It was, this is what I wanted to say, and I'll say that. And now 100 and what, you're now episode 179 later. I tell people, don't have a blueprint, right? Just kind of start it, have a little foundation, and let it grow.
It depends. That's the more I'm learning, the more I appreciate the blueprint, because over the last 5 years, I've taken a lot of stabs at podcasts and internet streaming and so on and so forth. So this will be another venture into, or, another, going wading back into that pool. But
this time it's you, though. That's the part, is because you do have your own little fish or rampages, and that's what I love about listening to you. Is you will walk into a topic, drift off in left field, sit in the stands for a minute, right, and then buy a ticket. You do it all in reverse, and then I love that part, because I think you kind of, the stream of consciousness is what a lot of people really operate on, and so when you're allowed to free flow like that, that really brings something different to it, man.
I'm allowed to do that anytime I want, but can I take whatever it is I do and be successful with it? In this new age. So that's the question for me. I'm excited about it, nervous about it. But it's funny because the things that what helps is having some money come in, and I'm doing these gigs. Like before I got into radio, I was a DJ, like a mobile DJ. I started off doing these dances for the city of Ocoee when I was 15 years old. Next thing you know, I'm doing Christmas parties and weddings and proms and homecomings and all that kind of stuff. And now, 20, 30 years later, here I am again. And I love it because I love the interaction with people one-on-one in small groups. And so I'm doing these trivia nights at bars, karaoke nights at bars. And so that income coming in helps. So as I'm trying to figure out, exactly how to, incorporate what you're doing, a lot of what you're doing, and a lot of what, the people are doing around the world now, and trying to bring together what I know or knew of radio into whatever it is you're doing right now, and see if I can put it together.
Yeah. Do you think the podcasting, I mean, that's pretty much what, I mean, is radio over? Where does radio stand?
I think you have to look at radio now more as a media group. Each radio station is part of, a group of 4, 5, 6 radio stations. They're all going to find their niche. You're going to pick one format, format A, B, C, D, E. This will be our strategy. And then they're a multimedia company. Ultimately, they just can't be a radio station anymore. I think so. In a sense, yes, radio will never be what radio once was. You can't just be a radio station, sell advertising, and survive. You have to have what we called over at Cox when I was there, NTR, non-traditional revenue. And it was just coming up with very creative ways to bring together the traditional advertising plus different sponsors together for events versus just straight up going on the radio and going, hey, everybody, come do this, come buy this. But everybody's evolving, all the major companies, everybody's figuring it out. It's taken some time, and I don't know if anybody's figured it out yet, but, I'm sure they're close.
Yeah, I think NPR's crossover was almost saved them. I think I know NPR struggled on certain ends and to keep operating.
About them delving into the podcast world.
Yeah, they crossed over and have just owned the market and cornered it.
I think one of the issues, I'm no expert, but one of the issues is radio and television is they're mass media. You know, they're used to having your demographics sliced and diced at 1834 persons, and you're throwing out casting nets to try to catch all those people between the ages of 1834. And it seems like the podcasting world is less of mass media and more of like niche media. Instead of going after demographics 1834, you're going to go after psychographs of people who love to watch, you know, The Walking Dead and, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? And so I mean, I don't know, but a lot of radio's doing a lot of things and that I'm not keeping up with. So there might be some companies out there that already have this nailed down. But I think what they need to do is, instead of, and this is what a lot of radio stations are doing, basically an extension of somebody's morning show will go to a podcast, and they'll either put best of stuff on there and send it out, which is not bad. I think you could that's probably a good tool. It's probably a good marketing tool to get people to come to where you are. But or for some, they'll go on and it'll be more like an uncensored version of their show.
Yeah.
But I think if they were to look at each individual morning show or talk show, or just no personality that they have working for them in radio, and find that thing that that person is passionate about or that show is passionate about, and then carve out that niche. You know, if somebody is just a huge, you know, Guns N' Roses fan or Metallica, we go, all right, we're going to do a Metallica podcast. Then this person is insane about this. They know everything about it. And then you next thing you know, you've got 100,000 people, 500,000 people, 1 million people following. But I think with that too, they're having a difficult time selling, even if they get a difficult time selling it. At least they did a couple years ago, because again, they're always thinking in those demographics I was talking about earlier. And then they were like, well, you need to break down those numbers for me because I don't get it. And, you know, it doesn't fit in the normal model.
Yeah, the approach podcast kind of allowed that. It's almost a saturation now. You know, there's so much. It's kind of hard to really cling to one. Really, it's actually kind of like watching the NFL or NBA. You can't be a fan of a team anymore. In 2 years, it's a totally different team. You know, so it's hard to stay focused. So even with podcasts, there's so many to choose from, right? I remember when there wasn't that many. You know, 2013 even was still kind of early in it. But now, I mean, you're right. If I searched something specific, right, anything it is, you can find a podcast literally, you know, on that topic. And it makes it hard really for a lot of people to make the wave. So then you have to ride the generic route there. It becomes, here's what I noticed, man, is I see podcasts that are online entertainment breaks away from the reporter desk, if you will, setup of radio or whatever they claim not to be. And now it's completely evolved to where I'm watching major YouTube channels look just like the local news channel setup, and they look like a radio booth. And I'm going, wait a minute, I thought this was to break away from that look or that difference. You know what I mean?
Well, it's there's a lot of different reasons. Well, the thing is that what's interesting about to me YouTube and the, you know, all of this is quality. I don't think for the most part people care. I think one of the things I'm learning is, you know, if you try to focus too much on being polished, you're focusing on the wrong things, man. It is about the content.
Yeah, the production isn't always the keeper.
No, you know, there's a lot of horrible video quality out there that, you know, will be the number one watched, you know, video in the world week after week after week. It's not some pure polished, you know, piece of production. So
I think you really nailed it when you were saying what would make you different, since there's so many, like you were saying, Adam, about having so many podcasts, everybody out there, where you find your niche, or what makes, you know, like you were, you know, when you were saying, doesn't matter how polished or whatever. It's just like we were talking today about the bars, the ones that are more old school, that stick around forever, the ones that continue to stay real. Like if you are the host, if you're that one that's not thinking about, you know, being too polished, but being themselves, those are the ones that I think can handle the different, and that when the industry goes in and out and changes, they're the ones that actually last.
Yeah, I think social media has a new, I don't know, bullshit radar. I think people can detect it real quickly, but I also think it's a filter
About that.
between. Well, I mean, no, well, I gotta link it to what they authentically like, right? Because what we like is so calculated. What we're interested in, what we see, what we tap into. So, what people really want to see, if the quality is so much not so produced, but is like you're saying, right on point with what I want to see, then I don't care if it's this or that. Sure, I may like it better, but I'm going to follow it anyway. And I think when people take whatever they're doing and try to apply, like you said, this is how you build it, right? This is how you make a successful podcast. Follow step A, B, C. Sure, there's definite technical issues with that, right? Marketing steps for sure. But the content itself is what you pointed out, is people are looking and hungry for content and new content, not regurgitated content. They're willing to hunt, I think, for that and put attention toward that. So it's really about doing the show authentically yourself, really on what you like. I think what you're involved with.
Listen, their podcasts can be used for a lot of different things. First and foremost, for all those people who ever grew up listening to the radio, which is everybody, and had those dreams of having their own radio show. Well, there you go. Knock yourself out. As long as you're not concerned with the number of people that listen to it or watch it.
Right.
Because if it's truly about you just wanting to get on and you have some stuff to say, then start a podcast and a blog and say it. But if you're doing it because you think that if all you have to do is flip a switch and start talking, and then next thing you know, you've got a world full of followers, then that's coming from a place of ego and thinking that you're going to save the world or whatever it is.
Yeah, it leaves room for a huge disappointment.
Yeah. But if it's really about just expressing yourself, like, man, I got some shit to say, then start a podcast and put it out there and tell your friends. And if only 10 people are listening to it every single week, don't be discouraged. Keep going, because you never know when you're going to catch fire. And then people go backwards and listen to all your podcasts, and and they're great. And not only that, but sometimes here's what you can do. You can put in your head to help. It's kind of, it's like putting some sunscreen on the ego, is you can say, I'm doing this for people in the future. So even if nobody's listening right now, you're like, someday there's going to be millions. It might be long after I'm gone, 50 million years ago, but somebody's going to listen.
Right,
it's funny. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, what would you call it when you bury it? A time. Help me out. When you bury in the bag, a time capsule.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's a video. I was talking a little bit. It's like
today.
Yeah, I was like, look, if I happen to not be here tomorrow, and you want to somebody get to know me, you could go back and watch 179 episodes and kind of get to know somebody, right? It's a portfolio of your own existence in this world. But I love how you pointed out the no bullshit, Chris, because going on 4 years now doing the Cognitive Rampage, and with help from Steve Stone being around, even yourself in the beginning too, even still now.
I know that name. Is he a voice guy? No, Steve Stone. Who? Do I know him?
That's Stone. It's the name, and you hear Steve. You're like, I'm supposed to know Steve Stone. No, you've probably met him. I'm not sure, man. He's basically been on the podcast ever since I was on Joe Rogan and all. He's just been a right hand.
Okay.
Helping it move, man. I mean, from designing websites to editing the show, getting everything up and going.
Stone.
Yeah. Steve Stone. And well, the Immortal Samurai too. He's got his graphic novel out, so he's kind of big in Vegas. So nice. He does his Comic-Con things, which are pretty awesome. But doing it that long and just a slow grind is really what it is. And people do, man. They have that illusion that they're just going to start this podcast and show, and they've watched The Natural too much. They'll build it, and they will come and they chat, and then they realize, I've seen names that people know, like well-known names, start podcasts, and fuck it, because it takes some damn work too. People think you're just cutting on the video going, oh, you're not doing anything. But if you really want to even push your own authentic shit, you got to put work in, man, on the back end, from knowing what to post. And it's work, man.
Right. It's like starting a business. A lot of people think you just go out there. I want to start a little boutique in the corner of this trendy part of town, and everybody will just come. No, you got to hustle your ass off. Once
Hey, it worked for Betty.
Yeah. I mean, it can't. Every now it does, and now and again it does. But
Yeah, but it really is, man. It's a hard hustle. People don't realize until Patricia, she's been around a while watching it now, and how much work really goes into not only social media, but trying to find guests that you want to talk to, right? Not that you're supposed to talk to, at least for me. I can give you a list of the people I'm supposed to talk to on my genre of podcast to consider myself the confirmed podcast, and a few of those names we've interviewed. But for me, it's really been about interviewing people that I want to talk to, people that I find interesting in life, to share 30 minutes here or 2 hours even with, just talking about whatever, man.
Again, it's all what it is you're trying to get accomplished with your podcast. I love that we live in a time for relatively no money, and you can probably figure out how to do this stuff for free. I would imagine, if you just want to use like your Facebook Live.
Yeah.
But you can express yourself, and then like Adam said, talk to people that you are interested in. If you're looking to do this for a living, well, then it's a business like anything else, and you need to understand the business part of it. And you might not necessarily be approaching a podcast that is all about your passion, but something that is hot, technology, and you've got this angle and you've got this network and you're in the technology field. You hate it because you're in the field, but you know a lot about technology. Then there you go. Maybe that's where you are, you start to make some money because, I don't know.
Well, it's rough out there, man. The days of posting YouTube videos and making money is pretty much, coming to an end for some people. The YouTube stars definitely still exist. That's going to be a growing thing. They have their niches and they make tons of money off of them. But again, the saturation's there. I'm not saying it's not worth the dice, right? You roll it if you do it anyway. But I think if you do it for, like you said, the right reasons, for things that you feel, focused behind, or whatever that vision is, I think if you have a foundation, then, that's what you roll with. And it sounds like that's what you're really rolling with the show. You have a philosophical foundation and sort of a direction, and you're just going to let it flow.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's going to be a tentacle, I hate talking in these terms, but I'm going to say my brand.
Well,
Thinking about, you know what I'm saying?
It's hard. Yeah, I'm with you on that word, because it's not your brand, man. It's just you.
I know, but here's the thing. Okay. You guys know each other. So when you say those things, it's like, yeah, right. But what about the people that don't know you? Like, if you were to tell me right now, what is it that you're probably going to be, what is it that you yourself are mostly going to be revolving around? Like, what is it?
Well, like I said, a podcast or a live Google Hangout is just one tentacle of what I want to get accomplished. And I'm wondering if I've spent enough time here in the Bay Area, Tampa Bay, and if I have enough capital, enough equity, enough network here in the Bay Area that I can put together something and not have to go back. I mean, I don't have anything against corporate radio, don't get me wrong. But I think that if I can figure it out, I can put something together where I'm putting together a show every single day. But that's just part of what I'm doing, because I want to be able to affect my community, impact my community. I've been in music radio all of my life, so I want music to be a part of what I'm doing next, and bringing people together and listen to music, and then listen to free speech, and to have commerce as well. So I don't know. I don't know what it is that I'm exactly trying to get accomplished moving forward, but it's. I think I'm just trying to hustle up a little life for myself.
Well,
Really,
it sounds like you're just wanting to talk about what's in the now.
I'm not trying to take over the world anymore.
Yeah.
As a younger man, my ambitions were one of two things. I was either going to take over for David Letterman when he retired. That's, like when I was around 19, 20, 21. And then a little bit later on, or shortly thereafter, my ambitions became to become the morning show in a market. Didn't have to be New York or LA, but in a decent sized market. But that's changed, and well, not changed. It's the platform to become active in the community and somebody that is bringing people together in positive ways and having positive influences in the community and that kind of stuff, might be able to be done over the digital space. So that's kind of where I'm venturing into.
Yeah, I think it certainly can. I like to consider myself a early adopter, if you will, with technology and input of information, right? But I went through that era. What was really cool was I got an echo. I don't hope it's not echoing on the recording, but where when we were going to high school early in the morning, we had that morning show, right? We knew what was going to be on, whether it was XL, whether it was 22 Jams, it didn't matter, right? But we had that little group of 4 or 5 voices that we knew, right? And I got to know them early in the morning, right? Going to high school. And as transitioning from high school into college, et cetera, is kind of when radios did start to go away, right? And podcasting was kind of entering later for me, right? And internet radio even. So for me, there's still a space in my, whether it's linked from my past, that I find when I wake up in the morning, I still play morning news when I wake up. That's why, dude, I was playing the news thing you were doing in the morning. That had become my news morning when I'd wake up and play. Now I usually listen to BBC or something, try to, but sometimes it's just too much murder and killing, right? And it's bad shit. And so when you would cover what I'd normally hear, you kind of have a good way of delivering it. So I think there's still a space for that, man. I really do.
And I agree. Listen, man, radio's not going anywhere. Morning radio's not going anywhere. It is a relationship on the end of the listener. And for those that are on the air, for those that are, making the business decisions, it's a business. But on the other end, it is a business. It's a relationship. It's a business disguised as a relationship. But you were talking about getting up in the morning and flipping on the radio and that comfort of having the news, and you know how your day is going to start. Well, part of what I will be doing is something similar, but it's for those people who wake up and have a device that's playing something for them, whether it's Alexa or your iPhone. And when your alarm goes off in the morning, you could set my voice to come on and say good morning, and here's stuff you should know for today, or whatever we end up naming it, and I'll ease you into the news of the day through your device.
Well, I think that's a good segue to actually jump to the topics, because when I hit you up, I was like, what, let's do something different on the podcast. Since we walked through a big interview, we ended up doing it anyway, but let's kind of do the stuff you should know and gather some topics that were mainstream. I usually don't talk about mainstream topics, but since that's kind of format you're talking about, I know we got to push this back a week or so and got to chat, or at least I sent you some notes over, some couple topics to chat about. I know Patricia wrote some down, and I think that's a good segue. What's some stuff we should know, man? And let's throw around some topics and see where it goes.
I think that's a great question. It's a great question for me moving forward, because the stuff you should know of the day could easily all be on the international level. You can stay in Korea, Russia, Iran, Afghanistan. You could stay focused on that every single day. You could focus on everything tied to Trump every single day. So that is going to be it'll be a mixture of things. Here's what's going on in the world. Here's what's going on the national level, local level, sports, entertainment, and I'll probably approach it less from a here's what I think people should know about, and more from what do I think people will likely be talking about today anyway, and make sure I get out in front of that So this was the approach that we always had with this particular feature on my show, and it was, as a matter of fact, I think we even had a stager that set it up this way, that said something to the effect, so you don't sound like a complete idiot at the water cooler today. Here's stuff you should know. So it's that. So when you go to, you don't have to be a news junkie to keep up with things, but here's a couple of copy points you need to know going through your day. So if you're a sales guy and you're out chatting it up with somebody, you don't necessarily have time to read all the news of the day, because you're trying to come up with sales pitches and make budgets and whatever. So there you go. It's something like that. But that's just the beginning, because I want to interview people, noteworthy people, and I also want there to be a local level. So one of the things that I'm going to try to do is see in a kind of a local direct way if I can tap into the market to make a little bit of a living. And then on the broader scope, having the more evergreen material, segments, podcasts, however they go out, that are more in the traditional podcasting realm, and it doesn't rely on my brand and equity, what if there is any left in the Bay Area here in Tampa. Hopefully it'll be good enough standalone content that it will pop.
Well, I love the local radio feel anyway, right? Even if people don't listen to it, it's kind of the uniting voice, really, of the community, right? Because so many people on the the internet takes you to so many different markets and so many different avenues. You don't hear a lot of things. So even the radio, still the local radio, they do so many events and drives and helpful things. They do bring communities together. Sometimes they throw concerts. It's kind of like a missing piece of communities, possibly, right? Because everyone has their own internet disappearance and channel, that it may not lead to the full-on community interaction, right? When radio, I do remember, brought that together, right? That's where, of course, that radio station's here at this event, right? Of course, they're at the fairgrounds. Of course, they're at the Magic Game, right? That's just what they do, and it is a uniter, man. It really is.
Chris, were you referencing like if you were to do like an app for you where everybody got an update when something new happens, but it's an update from you? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah. I think that's going to be a part of what I'm going to do next, and that is, for lack of a better stupid term, like Mr. Tampa Bay kind of thing, where you're
not the fisher of information.
Yeah, so I'll be tapped into the scene. I always have been and still am, and at least right now it's the trivia night scene and the karaoke night scene.
Do you have a karaoke song?
I cannot.
There's one go-to. I guarantee you. Nothing. No go-to of this might slide me through it.
Yeah, definitely no go-to for me. I'm not the carry. I'll watch somebody all night make a fool of themselves. I really will.
Plush, Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, okay, good song.
Okay,
mine is. Want me to put it on for you?
Yes.
They'll kick us off of YouTube.
Sing it up.
Oh wait, what if I pull up the karaoke version right now and started to sing it?
They'd probably kick us off. Probably.
What if I were to just sing it a cappella?
Oh, then they're gonna shut us down anyway.
Well, I promise you they will not. This will not violate any copyrights. Time to wait for tomorrow.
Define it. I love the play on words too. That's a sick song too. When you define it, and
I know, I have no idea. I've sung that song a million times. I've listened to it a million times. I have no idea what it means.
Are you the guy that knows all the words to the songs?
No, not at all.
Adam is, and I look at him sometimes like, what?
Me too, because that's just we only have so much space in there, and I filled it with this nonsense, and it dumbs me down. I wish I didn't know all the lyrics.
He knows all of them.
Not me.
I'm the one that jacks the lyrics up. I'm the one singing, "Go, go, Jason Waterfall."
You're like, wait, what's Jason doing?
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Is that what you meant?
I was just talking to my buddy Blake the other day about this, and was it Paradise City by Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I always sang it as a kid. Take me down to the very last city. What I'm singing is the title of the damn song, and I can't even get it right.
You had this
Down
death
to the
wish.
very last city.
I'm sure there's a few songs that you still throw. I know I throw words in there that
Oh,
that
yeah.
sounds right.
Yeah. Or when you switch it up and make it better. There's a couple rap songs that you do that too a lot.
Well, I got to throw my own words in.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, this is true. Speaking of something, if you should know, there is actually officially an air guitar league. There's a professional air guitar league that you can sign up for and compete. They wear costumes, they have their names. Now it's not even like the video game thing. It's actual air guitar to a song that you pick, and they have championships and tournaments, and it's a thing.
Well, I think it's ridiculous, and me and everybody in my clarinet league feel like it is the dumbest thing we've ever heard.
They were pissed. They had a picket line.
So am I wrong?
My air clarinet team,
Yes.
we'll take them down anytime.
I thought I'd do well. Is that wrong? I was like, I'd compete. I'd get in.
I'd probably do pretty good at a couple
I shouldn't tell
different-
anybody that, should I? No, I would
You know,
play.
I have a couple of videos. If anybody, for the first person that emails in that would like to see the video of you doing the air guitar.
Oh, I thought we were going to release the marketing plan C already. Never mind. I thought you were. Never mind. When you let that video
No,
leak, know,
no.
when all else fails, leak video C for.
What video are we talking about now?
No, I was making sure that's not the lever she was pulling per
Yeah,
se.
he's not pulling a Kardashian. Don't worry.
You guys are holding on to that one for the first quarter of next year.
Yeah, that's just when it's all going down, man. When there's nothing left, fire everything.
Accidentally.
Yeah, I was trying to feed into to some of the topics of some of the things to talk about that we wrote down. Shoot.
Well, I mean, did you already figure it out? I just totally jumped
Go
right in there.
Go for it.
I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Oh, it actually just came up today when I was just looking at it. And so I didn't do some major research. I'm actually just going to give you my opinion on maybe what the average female would feel like if she looked at this little video of Cam Newton.
Okay.
I'm already a little biased, or
yeah,
I shouldn't say that. No, I'm not a fan. I feel more. I'm sympathetic to him because I am a Bronco fan, so I'm sure he's still a little bit wounded. However, one of the reporters asked him a question, and she was, being like everybody else, and she says, "So Cam, how do you feel when this or this and this, your guys go on their route, blah blah blah?" And he stops, and he has this sarcastic, condescending smile, and he's like, "It's just so funny hearing a woman talk about routes." And he says it kind of like, first, can you spell route? Like he didn't say that, but his behavior was just like,
right.
Everybody stop talking. This female is doing it. So then that reporter started tweeting saying, actually, I didn't think it was funny. I was doing my job, and just his behavior in itself was just so like, did somebody accidentally let a female in this room?
Well, I don't watch the football thing anymore, but when you told me about it, my first response is like, wait, no PR coach? No, you're not that up to date. Like, really?
It is surprising, that would come out of his mouth. The thought, it doesn't surprise me, because of the culture of football and professional football.
Sure, run like a girl, right? That was, that was almost a standard 1 in 10 line the Pop Warner coach yelled at you once a week. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or hit like a girl, right? That's what they would say.
There's a good thing to fight like a girl.
That every football player would be, well, they are much more media savvy, and they keep those kind of stupid comments to themselves, or behind closed doors to their peers. So I don't know, it's just a surprising moment to hear that come out of somebody's mouth, and especially somebody like Cam Newton.
Well, how long before they start going, is this CTE? Right, they'll start linking it to head trauma. He's,
he did get hit hard, really, really hard that same day, and so
it only takes one. I mean, they'll find a way. They'll find a way and link it. But yeah, for me, I was kind of like,
and the thing is, Adam, a lot of shit is going to ultimately come back to CTE and brain injuries, I think, for a lot of these guys. But what did you think about his apology? Did you guys see that? Cam Newton?
No,
I
I
did not see
can't
his
say I
apology
follow.
either.
So you would be educating me, sir.
Well, no. It was a big apology, and I, I think he means it. But if you were to peel back a few layers, when it comes to professional sports, it's not just football, baseball, basketball, and then you could probably even extend it out from there and go really the celebrity class and the politician class and those with money and power. It's just I don't know. It's a different. They operate in a different world, in a different realm, and misogyny. Let's just bring it back to sports. Those are men, and they're kings. It's a completely different culture, and everybody is subservient to them, including that includes the women.
Okay. So in that situation, it's just like the animal world. Everybody has someone else that's going to prey on them. So who needs to prey on that person that it was just now preying on the others?
Well,
Who do they fear?
I'll stick with the biological. I mean, even the UFC, they stopped interviewing the fighter if he's knocked out in a loss. What they did for a long time is they first, which I always thought was backwards. They interviewed the winner of the fight. He would chat for a little bit, then he'd go off, and then they'd interview the person who just lost. Joe Rogan spoke out about it first, but a lot of people were talking about not interviewing the fighter, right? Because a lot of these fighters would get up and be interviewed and would still be out of it. And a lot of people, I didn't tap. Some people would say I didn't tap, not knowing, well, you just got knocked out. Or they did get choked out, and he was saying, oh, I was still fighting. I was in. So they're not in their right mind, right, when that happens. And we're only talking maybe, I don't know, if the fight goes 5 rounds, maybe 40, 50, 60 shots, right? And those are light, maybe lighter than that, right, depending on activity. So when you're looking at, just a 3-round, 2-round fight, it's a minimal shots, and they won't interview the fighter. I mean, the NFL, you're talking 4 quarters of pounding your head.
Oh, and that's just a game, man. That's not even practice. And
right. And now, you ask that, and maybe you're just kind of in a place where you're such in football culture, right? You're coming literally out of the locker room, right? As they would say, it's locker room talk. You're coming out of it. And I mean, one would argue that it's showing how he really felt, right? But they could link it to, but like the idea of, not in his right mind is all.
Well, I didn't hear his apology. And honestly, if I was really to take a step back and look at it, he looked more childish to me when he was showing that expression. So I didn't look at it as him realistically saying, you're an ignorant female. I really thought of it more as like a child going, hee hee, that's a girl talking about blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's more the impression that I got than sexism or anything like that, but more like someone that's naive or maybe not up to scale on really what's appropriate or not.
Sure. Well, you start taking head concussions. That's usually about the age that you get cut off at, right? When you're taking extreme trauma.
Man, it's a long damn day. I'm just babbling. I'm rambling on.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're hanging out for, is doing those, just chatting a little bit on top. What's ending your day? You're coming down off a karaoke night.
Last night, and then just did trivia. Got to be up early tomorrow morning to head over to this new production facility in Tampa to set up this new show that will begin on Monday, hopefully.
What's the trivia question? I know you got one in your head.
Here we go. How about
He's going to cheat. He's doing something. He's Googling.
I'm going to pull up my trivia questions.
Okay,
well, the guy that announces always knows.
Okay, good.
Man, it's not like I make these up off the top of my head as I'm doing them.
I'm just trying to pick a fight.
All right. If you were born on the 4th of July, what star sign would you be?
I don't know that stuff.
Dancer.
I'm out.
What was the name of Wham's Christmas song that was a top 10 hit in 1985?
My God, Noelle, is tripping out right now.
I know, right? She's like, oh my gosh.
Wham!
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. The very next day.
Oh, I know it, but I don't know the name of it.
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas. I'm out already. I'm 0 for 2. I don't know pop culture.
Lester Holt, Matt Lauer, and Meredith Vieira, and more have all been a part of which weekly evening news program?
Is it nightly evening news?
Dateline.
Dateline.
What color is the bottom stripe on the flag of Germany?
Black?
Yellow. What
Yellow.
word is used to describe an angle between 90 and 180 degrees?
45?
Obtuse.
Oh, what the name? What? Not what is the difference?
Which city became the capital of America in 1788?
Ocoee, Florida.
New York.
No, they weren't here. Ocoee definitely was the.
See, you say Ocoee, and he said Ocoee.
Well, I somewhere early on in my youth,
You got a Hawaiian on us.
yeah, I realized that I needed to drop the Ocoee accent for whatever reason. I was like 12,
Yeah,
13
why?
years old. And so I slowly, I mean, the redneck will still come out of me. Like if you were talking to my brother Jason, it'd be a whole different ball game.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't say Ocoee right. I say Ocoee, but I think if most of the people from Ocoee say more like Oquaw.
Ocoee.
Oquaw.
Like La Croix, the drink La Croix.
Like La Croix, yeah.
Yeah, La Croix.
Very French, Oquaw.
Oh yeah, hey, Adam.
That's a survival
does not
tactic.
describe it French-like.
No, not at all. It's definitely not French-like. It's yeah, they may have served you well to to drop that accent of Ocoee, man.
Yeah, fit to go fishing.
I'll know. You know what though? Sometimes Adam will go on some rants and he'll go, "I'm sick of this shit," and I just can't
That's
not
true.
like it. I'm just like, well, you know what? Screw you then, motherfucker.
All you got to do is just go real country with it, and it's all right. You're like, shit.
Yeah, I think he slipped those in there on purpose. He'll really legitimately complain, but if he changes his voice, it's not so
doesn't
harsh.
Then it doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's a perfect accent, my friend.
Right. It sounds like he's putting some major work into this new adventure, though. But worst case scenario, you just go back to where you were before. Why not try all the stuff that you're trying? That's admirable to me.
I hope to come back on your show here in a couple months and babble less and focus a little bit more on hopefully what is turning into a successful venture. So.
Well, don't forget about the little guys when you blow up, man. You're doing news for everybody. Just when I reach out, just be like, oh, yeah, that guy. I'll still hang out with that guy for a minute.
I remember him.
Yeah. The
From
little
Oquaw.
people.
Yeah, don't forget about us, man. Well,
I know he's like, I could really use some sleep right about now.
all right, bro.
I was saying, poor Christy's probably thinking, I could really use some sleep right about now.
Yes.
Get some sleep. I love you.
All right, man. It was nice talking to you. Nice meeting you, Patricia.
Yes, you too. I did actually get a chance to watch you once. So it was great.
Watch me?
Yeah, I was with Adam and I. It was
sneaking,
when I was here.
Looking in your window.
Yeah, we climbed in your backyard and we were watching you from afar. And he was introducing us, saying, "That's her, the one that we were talking about." And I was like, "Oh, they got married. How cute!"
You just kept running away with that one.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Might as well be a stalker.
No, we watched your last show. I was just bringing you up. That's all.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and it was. I thought you had a natural voice, like it was easy to listen to. It wasn't like somebody that was putting forth effort. I really felt like more like the diversity of your conversation when you were talking. You were willing to listen to other people. I liked that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll keep it up.
It was shitty. No, I'm kidding. I'm just trying to fill in your thoughts for you, man.
I know. He's asleep already.
But don't forget about us, man. Let me know how we can help too. Share everything you're doing in the Tribe of Change too, as your new shows start to come out. And when you do the news like you're doing or whatever, share that link with the tribe too, man.
I will.
Yeah.
You know, they'll tune in. I get it. And if I'm not up and working already, I tune in. So.
All right, buddy.
All right, man. Love you, bro.
Love you.
Bye.
Tell your brother I said hi.
I will do, man. I'm trying to pull his ass back out of California and bring him home.
Well, he's getting closer. He was in Alaska there for a while. At least he's back in the mainland.
Yeah, I'll get him back, man. But I will, brother.
All right.